A day after Skymet predicted below normal rainfall for 2023 on account of El Nino conditions, the Indian Meteorological Department has said that it expects the country to have a normal monsoon this year. The monsoon season, which typically runs from June to September, is responsible for about 70% of India's annual rainfall, providing the water necessary for irrigation, especially to the Kharif crop that gets sowed for the summer season. The nation's official forecaster said that rainfall is likely to be 96% of the long period average, or LPA, with an error margin of 5%. India defines average or normal rainfall as between 96% and 104% on a 50-year average, which is 88 centimeters for the 4-month season beginning June. IMD expects normal to below normal rainfall in some areas of northwest, parts of west central India and some pockets of northeast India as well. Skymet, on the other hand, forecasted rainfall to be 94% of the LPA this monsoon as, and I quote, the likelihood of El Nino is increasing and is probably of it becoming a dominant category during the monsoon, and this is growing at large. Skymet said northern and central parts of the country are expected to be at risk of being rain deficit, with Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra, which may witness inadequate rains during the core monsoon months of July and August. Adequate and timely rainfall, of course, is vital for India's agriculture sector, which is the main source of livelihood for nearly 60% of the country's population and contributes nearly 18% of India's GDP. Now, nearly half of India's farmlands have no irrigation cover and depend heavily on the June to September monsoon season. In short, the monsoon is critical for India's agricultural sector and the economy, as well as the overall well-being of the country and its citizens. Well, joining us on this very important debate is Mahesh Palawat, Vice President, Meteorology and Climate Change at Skymet Weather. And we also have with us Chetna Sinha Gala, founder, Mandeshi Foundation, Mandeshi Bank, and my colleague Nivedita Khandekar, who closely tracks this space. Mahesh, let me start by asking you, you're saying that we are looking at a below normal rainfall. The IMD doesn't seem to agree with your analysis. What's the kind of data set and the method that you follow in arriving at these details?
There is not much difference because 96 to 104% is a normal monsoon, and below that 90 to 95 is below normal monsoon. They have stated the lowest range of normal monsoon, that is 96, and this is 94. There's not much difference. Only the word normal and below normal, it makes a lot of difference in perception. As we expect that El Nino will be evolving as of now after triple dip La Nina. We are now in neutral condition, and gradually the El Nino will develop, and by beginning of June it will be around 50% probability of El Nino developing, and June, July, August it will cross 60%. It will maintain the intensity of 60 to 65% or 63 to 67% throughout the monsoon. So whenever there is El Nino conditions, if we take the data of last 50 years, 80% of El Nino years are below monsoon, below normal rainfall during monsoon. And we have our own models. We have run our own model, and there is consensus between all the models that yes, we arrived at that monsoon will be below normal, and the part of West Central India will be at risk. Yeah.
Okay, Nivedita, help me understand, we talk about normal monsoon and we talk about below normal and normal monsoon. So in the larger context, how is it that, apart from sentiment, does this reflect overall for the climate? And with El Nino becoming more of a reality, what do you make of the data coming your way? Are we really going to be drought hit if it is beyond just sentiment of the lexical difference between normal and below normal?
No. IMD has not forecasted any drought conditions as yet.
Okay.
IMD has definitely said El Nino impact would be felt, but that they are saying would be felt in the second half of the monsoon.
Okay.
So there's a difference between what Mahesh has said and what IMD is saying.
So just explain to our viewers, what is this El Nino pattern? What is the El Nino phenomena? How does it pan out?
El Nino is basically a temperature difference in the Western Pacific thing, and it's like a technical thing basically.
Okay.
For a common man, we can just simply explain that this is a temperature difference affecting Indian monsoon, that temperature difference happens in the sea, ocean as in, far away from us, but it has an impact on India's monsoon. And IMD has given us data. He said 80%, but they are saying 60-40. So
Right.
there are 40% of the years that impact of El Nino was when they had when India had more or above normal rainfall.
Okay.
60% was when it had some adverse impact or normal, almost normal thing.
Okay. So, Mahesh, let me come back to you. In an El Nino-like situation, what is it that one should expect? Even if one were to go by your estimates of a below normal rainfall, what should the country expect in an El Nino pattern?
See, the evolving a little is there, and initial period of monsoon, that June, we have forecasted 99% of LPA during month of June, and we decrease the rainfall in the month of July. That will be 95% of LPA. In the August, it will be 92% of LPA, and in September, it will be 90% of LPA. So the impact will be felt in second half of monsoon, particularly in later part of July, August, and September. And during that time, the monsoon rain may deplete, and they may adversely impact the kharif crop also. And sowing may also be delayed in some parts if monsoon rain do not are not sufficiently enough for central India, particularly in the month of June and July.
Okay, so let me bring in Chetna Sinha Gala into this discussion. Chetna, help us, arrive at, the data that Skymet has reported is that there's likely to be a 10 to 15 day delay in the monsoon as well. Specifically, these 10-15 days, what kind of an impact are they going to have on the farmer community who's so dependent on the monsoon in the Kharif sowing season? I think you seem to be on mute, Chetna. If I can request you to please unmute and address the question.
I'm on the road. Yeah, sorry. I'm just saying that who are the farmers who are directly affected by the monsoon? These are the farmers who grow millets. These are the farmers who are not dependent on irrigation but the rainfall and the monsoon. And these are millet producers farmers. Today,
Okay.
we are celebrating the millet year, International Millet Year. And I do think that even if monsoon gets delayed by, say, 2 weeks, it will affect. And at the same time, we have been lucky for last 2 years after COVID getting a very regular monsoon, which also made sure that we could feed our population. So if the monsoon gets delayed, it will affect the kharif, particularly the rice and the millets, particularly for them, and the farmers who are also in cattle rearing, which is milk. But I would say that if we get monsoon in time and at least little bit of for sowing seeds, farmers will be able to sow the seeds. And I do expect that the millets and the rice farmers are going to will not be affected even if we get a time proper rainfall and time, and so that they can sow the seeds. I think those are very important in the primary stage of the monsoon, in the beginning of the monsoon. 3-4 days here and there will not make much difference, but yeah, you need monsoon in time, and with this predictabilities, what is happening with the climate change, I do think that it is not only delayed in monsoon, but you need for farmers, they need rain when they require for their crop. That is very important. So I do see that if it is, say, 96% or 98%, that does not make much difference. But at the time when it is required is very important. And if farmers get that rainfall in time, then they will be able to not only feed themselves, but feed the population.
Okay, so stay with us, Chetna, and I'll take a slightly broader macroeconomic question also. I'll ask that of you. How does this sort of pan out, this delay of about 2 weeks, and considering we are in an El Nino situation, how does this pan out for overall inflation in the country?
So if it gets delayed, you know that actually this whole stock becomes an important part, and then there is also a bit nervousness also creates. So then it is going to create the price rise if it gets delayed. So we have to be very careful about that. But at the same time, I would just like to say that country has stock, right? because we do have a lot of stocks in
Yeah.
our FCIs, Food Corporation of India. So if that gets delayed, then governments will have to think about that, number one. Second, the PDS system will have to be very efficient. Number three, what direct benefit transfers people were going to get it through in form of food grains or money will have to be taken it very aggressively. So these are the main areas one should think of about that if the monsoon gets delayed.
Okay. You also mentioned that the dairy sector is likely to get impacted. What is the correlation between the dairy sector and below normal monsoon?
See, the dairy sector, because generally if monsoon is not in time, what happens is that the farmers have their animals and they need to feed their animals with the grass, with the maize, with the corn, and also the cattle feed. Now, cattle feed is very expensive. So generally farmers, if the rains are in time, then they manage to grow the fodder, which is so important for the farmers who are in dairy. And if they get the fodder, then they'll be able to sell the milk. And now because dairy sector has become so important is because it maintains the cash flows of farmers. When farmers are doing agriculture, they get money at the harvest, but dairy maintains the cash flow. They need to feed their children, they need to get the medicines for their children, and they need to send their children to school. So for all those things, particularly in June, the schools are starting, they would require books and all. So those things are affected, and it becomes very important that dairy sector should not be get affected because of the monsoon. Otherwise, it would get.
Okay. You, of course, through your foundation, the Mandeshi Foundation, you work very closely with the farming community, Chetna. So, what's the kind of credit offtake that you see in years that the monsoon is below normal? And what kind of a long-term impact does that have on the farmer community?
See, generally what lenders do, lenders always actually track what is the monsoon like. And if the monsoon is going to be delayed, then lenders will hesitate to give loan. Now, if they don't give loan, farmers will not be able to buy the seeds. If they cannot buy the seeds, they cannot grow their crop in time. So I do think that the whole credit flow in the agriculture sector can be affected. So it is very important that number one, the rains are in time, and number two, that credit intake of the farmers has been taken care of, or I would say that the infuse of credit to the farm sector should be in time. And if it is in time, then they will be able to buy the seeds. Particularly seeds are very important. And so lenders are going to check. And if lenders see that, if you're talking about that there is a possibility of initial delay in the rainfall, they will hesitate. And I would say that actually farmers are very smart. Even if there is a delay, they will be able to. We have seen the droughts. It's not that India has not seen the droughts. We have seen the severe droughts, but farmers have come out from it. So I do think that in such a situation, lenders, government, market, and public sector should come together to see that everything is delivered to farmers in time.
Okay, Nivedita, let me come to you. Now, of course, we know that about 50% of our crop is the Kharif crop, which is grown in the summer season, and about 50% is grown in the winter season, which is Rabi. So, last year we saw the Rabi crop doing about 6.2%, uptake in terms of its overall production was up by about 6.2%. Now, in that situation, a slight hit to the Kharif crop, does that sort of impact the overall food chain?
Kharif crop, what impact it will have, the monsoon delay or not delay, it's too early to predict basically. Because monsoon has not just spooked farmers, monsoon has spooked even the forecasters regularly.
Okay.
So given the track record, it's too early, mid of April is too early to say whether what end production say at the end of September when we say the end of monsoon.
Right. So what is a good date to look at the data? At what time should one look at the data and be a little more sure about how the monsoon is going to pan out?
Vis-a-vis production, middle of the monsoon is the right time, because then in majority of the areas across country, the sowing is done.
Right.
Because as we all know, monsoon progresses from south to north.
Right.
So 1st of June generally Kerala, and in northwest India it's 29 June, Delhi, it's 28th now.
Right.
So generally by middle of monsoon, June and July end rather, we know what kind of sowing has happened and the dates, whether they are going accordingly or not. And then that gives us a rough idea what kind of output we are expecting.
Okay. Mahesh, if I can bring you into this discussion, when is the last time that we saw a 94% below normal LPA?
That I don't remember, but I think we have you have misquoted the Skymet that we have not predicted the delayed in onset of monsoon,
Okay.
because in month of June we expect 90%, 99% of LPA. So June
Okay.
rainfall will be good. So there is no question of delay in onset of monsoon, and we have not predicted it. We will be predicting onset of monsoon in the month of May only.
May only.
In the month of
So
Even
May.
I
there is
would,
Okay.
no
yeah.
question of delayed onset of monsoon. The monsoon will be good in the month of June, but it will start depleting. Rainfall will start depleting as we progress further in the monsoon. And Chetna has already stated well that yes, the geographical distribution of rainfall is very important. If month of June witnesses good rain in the South Peninsula and central parts of the country, that sowing will be on time, and thereafter it depends upon the how the monsoon plan out in the month of July and August. So it will be a deciding factor.
Okay. And
Yeah.
another term which is doing the rounds is the Indian Ocean dipole. What is that, Mahesh? What does that exactly mean?
Yeah, this is a, you can say, small form of El Nino and La Nina. That is global factor. El Nino and La Nina, it impact it is in the Pacific Ocean, and
Okay.
similar in Indian Ocean, western and eastern parts of, there's a temperature difference between East Indian Ocean and West Indian Ocean. If Indian Ocean dipole is positive, then it helps the monsoon rains, which we have seen in the month of in 2019. Despite El Nino, a strong Indian Ocean dipole has negated the impact of El Nino, and monsoon rains were very good. So we are banking on it, but now, as of now, the indications are there that it will be slightly positive with the threshold value of positive, but it will not be a very positive Indian Ocean dipole. So we have to wait and see. If it turn out to be a strong IOD, then the monsoon rain may be much better.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
Chetna, final question to you. In the context of these reports on monsoon coming in, do you think there are any measures that need to be taken on the next interest rate cycle that the MPC will convene in the month of June? Is there something that the government should proactively do, or let status quo run out?
No, I would say when you are talking about the interest rates, I would say that it is very important that farmers get the affordable loans at an affordable rate. And it
Okay.
is also because, I mean, generally what happens is that when
So, you're
farmers
talking about a
repay
rate
the
cut
loan
in the
in
next
time,
MPC? Are you talking about a rate cut in the next MPC? Would that be something that you would
yes,
want to stand for?
I'm
But
talking
then,
about
but
the
then,
rate cut.
how does that manage the inflation which is set to rise on account of agriculture output?
Yeah, but then on the other side you have to think about farmers, right? If the
Okay,
farmers get everything in time and at an affordable rate, then the production is going to increase, and if the production gets increased, then you can deal the inflation also in a much efficient way. So I do feel that one has to think about the policies which are farmers friendly, agriculture friendly, because then and then only we'll be able to get the stock, get to feed the population. Now, as far as because if you don't take these market-based measures, then after when there is a problem, then we end up giving some doles or subsidies to farmers. It is very important that how we can provide the market-based solutions to farmers. And at present, farmers are paying high rate of interest because if they don't get loans in time, then they actually go for money lender. So the most important part is that number one, interest rate, but the most important is give them credit in time. That is very important.